At this time, allow me to welcome to the lectern our class president, Cadet Katarina Christensen.
Yep, thanks, Zach. Thank you, Zach. General Clark, General Williams, Command Sergeant Major Coffey, General Buzzard, Command Sergeant Major Killingsworth, General Jebb, Colonel McCarthy, and our virtual guests, 50-year affiliates, faculty, staff, family, friends, and the class of 2021. It is an honor to speak before you tonight. At this time, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge our fallen classmate, Cadet Cade Carita. The tragic loss of our classmate changed all of us in profound ways. We learned about the depths of sadness and the brutality of loss. We learned that in the wake of tragedy, we can choose joy and meaning and fellowship. In his memory, I would like us all to take a moment of silence in fellowship together. Thank you. Tonight, we gather together to celebrate Ring Weekend. Since 2002, every West Point class has been able to grip hands with those graduates whom have selflessly donated their class rings. This year, 42 rings were donated from graduates ranging from the class of 1919 to 2001. To date, a total of 617 rings have been donated, with 5 of them donated by our 50-year affiliate class, the class of 1971, professionally done. We are connected to each one of those rings and the people who wore them. But telling you about the journey of our rings does not sufficiently speak to the experience. Instead, let me show you this short video clip about the significance of the ring melt.
We are here today to celebrate the long gray line of West Point graduates.
It wanted to be here, it wanted to come home, and it wants to be worn on the fingers of the cadets from the class of 2021.
On behalf of the class of 2021, it is my honor to express my gratitude to those who donated the rings or the rings to their loved ones.
Companies, distribute rings.
I never saw my grandfather without his class ring on. And I know that when the class of 2021 dons their rings at ring weekend, it'll make it that much more special.
Class of 2021, don your rings.
And I kept that same ruby, the same ruby that he had for when he got his class ring. It's literally untouched. You can see it's got all the nicks on it and everything else, but that's how I want it. It brings me really close to him. It really does.
My dad passed away when I was in high school, and so I used his stone in my ring. This is something that really connects me to West Point and to him.
I've always thought that the most important characteristics of a soldier is adaptability and resiliency. And you see right now we're in this COVID environment, and we've had to be extremely resilient from not being able to leave and adaptable from having to change our classes to online or through a hybrid of some sort. And I just think it's really impressive how West Point's been able to do that, and all the cadets have been able to be adaptable and continue through. And you know, this is just our class's fight. This is just our chance. This is our time to shine, and we're rising to the occasion, just like West Point always will.
Those classes, they've given of themselves, they've given their rings, they've given this bit of their loved one to me. Someone who isn't family by blood, but now with this ring and my little brother who's a plebe that's watching over the hill, this ring to me means family. It means that I'm connected to 21, to 71, to 24 with my little brother, and now we're all joined together in these rings. This ring gives us a chance to grip hands, and that's what this means to me. This ring means family. Our rings symbolize the unity of the past to the present. Our generation and the ones that have gone before are eternally linked by these rings, no longer separated by time and space. At West Point, space and time are an odd concept. While the classes that have gone before us are separated by time, the space we occupy is the same, and somehow our experiences are oddly similar. The class of 1921, who walked these same halls 100 years before us, had a ring weekend eerily similar to ours. At the same time, World War I was profoundly impacting all corners of the globe, including West Point. While Europe was being ravaged by the war effort, the Corps was being gutted to fulfill the Army's need for officers on the Western Front. The class of 1921 was sent from the academy to go fight in the war to end all wars, and then came back to West Point to complete their time and graduate as officers. Their experience here, including their ring weekend, was disrupted by world events. Oddly enough, that same class, the class of 1921, came back from the war and was forced to adapt to the disruption that resulted from the Spanish flu pandemic, which reportedly infected 1/3 of the world's population. No part of the globe seemed scared, not even the United States Military Academy. In a continuance of odd historical coincidences, in 1961, the year that President John F. Kennedy would speak at West Point's graduation, he said these words, which I thought eerily fitting and applicable for tonight. He said, "Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, and unwilling to permit or slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, and oppose any foe to assure the success of liberty. This we pledge and more. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans has been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though embattled we are, but as a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. My point in stating this series of timely historical coincidences is not to give your Millar instructors a run for their money, but to drive home the idea that as of this moment, our class and the classes that have gone before us are no longer separated by time and space. This ring is so much more than a beautiful piece of jewelry. It is a promise, a call to arms, and a commitment of the highest order. This ring comes with it an expectation to rise to the challenge that is the call to service, to rise as those before us have. This ring sets an expectation for us to do better, to be braver, to be more courageous, to always do the right thing, as the classes before us have done. Tonight, the class of 2021 has accepted this honor, and we will rejoice in hope and remain patient in our tribulations, and we will bear the burden that is the call to service. Thank you. Without further ado, at this time, I would like to introduce General Richard D. Clark, our guest speaker for this evening. General Clark currently serves as the 12th Commander of U.S. Special Operations Command, headquartered at MacDill Air Force Base, Florida. Prior to assuming Special Operations Command, General Clark served as the Director for Strategic Plans and Policy, the Pentagon, in Washington, D.C. General Clark's other assignments include Deputy Commanding General for Operations, 10th Mountain Division, the 74th Commandant of Cadets for the United States Military Academy, and the Commander of the 82nd Airborne. Please welcome to the stage General Clark.
Hey, thanks, Kat, for that great introduction, and it's awesome. It is absolutely awesome, to be here with you tonight. I thank the class of 2021 for the invitation, to spend a few moments, with you. This is an amazing, unique place. When you're here as a cadet, you can't wait to leave. And after you've been gone a while, and this may seem hard for all of you to believe, but you do look forward to coming back. Soup, Tom, Dean, it's great to see all of you. Now, General Buzzard, I know it's especially great for you to be here tonight because all the firsties that I spoke to last night at the Firstie Club told me that they are glad you returned from Aruba from a 2-week... Oh, they're early. All right, hey, settle down back there. And I greatly appreciate the invite from the soup, especially because the soup incurs personal risk, allowing a former company mate a turn to the podium. Because the rumors that I could start about the soup, some of which I started the Firstie Club last night. So Soup, good to be here. So as I wrestle with how do you start a talk to the Corps? Should I offer amnesty? No, that's not the easy way. No, I think we can do better than that. That beer that you all are getting, it's not coming off your 4 beer limit. It's additive. So team, let's get those going. Let's get those beers going just a little bit faster. So every cadet. So every cadet, the 2 beers tonight don't count, and you know what? Have more later. All right. So if I could get your attention, while you're popping those beers. I want to start with a little bit of an exercise. And this is help me out. This is a show of hands. Who remembers that awesome nervous feeling you had when you reported on our day? Who remembers that? Okay. Who believes that the words duty, honor, and country really mean something? And who remembers that tremendous feeling you had the first time you assumed a leadership position and your team excelled and you saw them personally grow or develop? It's a feeling you'll never forget. And then who are the folks in the audience who have below a 2.3 GPA? Please stand up. Okay. Okay, sit down. All right, sit down. I know the dean is going to hate what I'm about to say, but all of you who just stood up, just know that you could be the SOCOM commander or you could be the soup. Keep that beer rolling. Cindy, I apologize for that. And all joking aside, this is about the class of 2021. And I'm not sure all of you realize it right now, but you are kind of a big deal. And as I'm hearing that beer just tap. You've built a reputation. And let's bring out a few of the details. This is the class that broke Cullum Hall as plebes when the song Tsunami played at your Halloween dance. And this is the class that broke the Act Shack at Camp Buckner. And this is the class that started a mess hall fight with food so ferocious last Christmas that it has already become part of a Corps legend. And so Daryl and Curtis, I'm starting to see a bit of a pattern here. You certainly have had your hands full. But this class is also the proud cohort of Trey Turner. Trey puts on his PT uniform just like everyone else. But once he does, he breaks IOCT records, man. Way to go, Trey. And where is Trey? Stand up. Where's Trey Turner? All right, Trey. And 2021 is the only class that can claim the Charles. Charles, stand up. The bearer of the shiniest National Defense Service Medal ever to resign on these grounds. But I also started to think about your present situation, how quickly normal changed for you last spring in the blink of an eye. Yesterday, there were no proud family members lining the hillside at Trophy Point as you received your rings. There were no hordes of boisterous plebes fawning over your gold mold of rolled gold. No dates, no hop, and probably biggest of all, for nights like tonight, no pass. Locked away on the banks of the Hudson is a pandemic, as Kat just talked about, seeming probably more like 1917 than 2020, and still with only a 4-drink limit on your card. You look great in your India whites, but those don't and won't erase the colder mornings, the grayer skies, and the knowledge that winter is coming. I'll say what some of you are thinking, damn, this just really sucks. But as you have those drinks in your hand and start feeling sorry for yourselves, I'll ask you one more question. What if in this challenging time, this is actually one of the easiest that you will face in your career and your lives? Your class will graduate 20 years after 9/11. 20 years. That's a generation. Almost none of you were old enough to remember when the towers fell. And the few who might certainly weren't old enough to understand the significance, yet you have all been deeply shaped by it. And so has the Army you're about to enter. 20 years ago, a few months minus, the class of 2001 sat where you did, happily enjoying a ring weekend with dates, but they didn't get free beer. Yet, they were completely unaware that they were on the cusp of a massive change. You have a chance here, a chance to be wiser and a bit more reflective. Life rarely meets our expectations, and if there were ever a time in our history to embrace that fact and thrive in uncertainty, it is now. Your class motto, "Until the battle is won," in my opinion, has a deeper significance than most of you will realize. You see, the battle is really never over. It's constantly evolving and changing and testing our resolve and our resilience. That ring on your finger represents your commitment to serve this nation for a lifetime, in uniform or otherwise. It's time for you to start expecting the unexpected and always look for that opportunity. 37 years ago, and the soup will back me up on this, we were firsties, October. And we saw the 82nd and the Rangers jump into a small island in Grenada. And we thought, well, we missed it. How wrong we were. I went off to West Germany to a mechanized infantry unit, and I spent my time training my platoon, building fighting positions to square off against the Soviet horde that was going to come across the Fulda Gap. Then the Soviet Union, it collapsed. I was a 5-year and out guy. I just wasn't that interested in a military career at that point in time. I can't help but think that many of you are watching our conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan wind down, and some of you may be thinking the same thing. 20 years of officers practicing their craft in our nation's longest war, and here you are a year too late. But I'll tell you, you're wrong. Our nation is very much today in harm's way, and we have no idea where or how or when the next threat will emerge, but it will come. We know that the rapid pace of technological change in computing, artificial intelligence, neuroscience, genetics, and many others will impact the evolving character of war in new and unforeseeable ways. That's why we need the brightest, most diverse, and most innovative leaders our force has ever had. That's why we need you. In the fast-paced, multi-domain battlefields on which we will compete, the instruments of national power, diplomacy, information, military power, and economics will churn a vast and complex array of decisions, even at the platoon leader level. That's why we need the most tactically competent and strategically aware leaders our force has ever had. That's why we need you. The consequences of those decisions will come in many forms. Human lives, both friend and enemy, will rest on your shoulders. Furthermore, the reputation of our Army and our country will hang on your clear-eyed commitment to our values, even in the most ambiguous and unforgiving situations. That's why we need the most ethically attuned, character-driven leaders our force has ever had. That's why we need you. Most of all, I'd ask all of you to think about the soldiers you will lead, because they will need you. Yesterday, before arriving at West Point, I traveled to Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia, which is home of our 1st Ranger Battalion and our 160th Night Stalkers, our 3rd Battalion there. And I had the opportunity to present Valorous Awards to some phenomenal aviators who risked their lives to save a young Ranger non-commissioned officer who had been desperately wounded in Afghanistan. The Ranger medics on the ground had implemented a new, untested protocol for on-site blood transfusion to keep him alive. They put 10 units of blood into him on the battlefield. That's his entire blood supply was replenished during the fight. That's the equivalent of all the blood in his body. And amid oppressive August heat, the pitch darkness, the acrid smoke, and the incessant gunfire, Rangers crawled one by one to the medics to give blood, and then without hesitation returned back into the fight. The Night Stalker helicopters placed themselves in between the Taliban forces and the enemy forces, and the Ranger forces, using the body of the helicopter and the machine guns on the aircraft to allow the Rangers to exfil the grievously wounded Ranger in daytime. Stories like this make you wonder, where do we get these amazing young men and women? Even more incredible than their talent, dedication, and heroism is the fact that they look to us. And I'm an old guy now. My time has passed. They're going to look to you. They're going to look to you to lead them. And it's an awesome responsibility and an honor it is to serve in this Army today, especially amongst our Special Operations Forces. Today, nearly a year after the battle I spoke about, Staff Sergeant Ryan Davis, the wounded Ranger, and while today a triple amputee and he's still got a long way to go, he's alive and he can remain a father to his son and a husband to his wife, thanks to the ingenuity, calm leadership, teamwork, and courage. The qualities we will ask all of you to embody and nurture across our force. That underlying intelligence, competence, and character that your alma mater has instilled in each of you, there must be more. Being able to reach out to your soldiers on a deep human level is what you must do, to inspire in them a passion for personal growth, courage, and virtue, to steady them in dark moments and lift them up. That's what makes a good small unit leader a great one. I have good news for all of you. When I recounted your class's reputation for mischief, and we joked about it and you laughed about it, it was great. But I left out one important piece, because we surveyed in preparation for this, the junior class at West Point, and asked them their view of the class of 2021. When asked, they said you're hands-on, you're engaging, you're empathetic, and you're eager to teach and mentor. If that's true, then many of you have greatness within your reach. It will be here soon. Every generation of officer who enters a long gray line has approached graduation with a single question in mind: what will be my greatest challenge? I can't tell you what yours will be, but I know it's not room inspections or COVID or 4-drink limits. The perspective and resilience that you can acquire right now will give you the confidence when those unknown moments arrive. Because if there is one thing that I have learned in this business, that it is not the will to win. Anybody can want to win, but instead is the will to prepare to win. It is hard work, it's persistence, it's dedication that is so key that you must be ready for whatever challenges you may face. Because in this business, winning matters and there is no second place. So as I wrap this up, you remember the first question I asked? When I saw almost every hand raised about remember that awesome feeling you had on our day? A spectacular combination of pride in being chosen for this great experience, excitement for a new challenge, all at becoming something so storied and unique. And don't forget that little bit of fear, that tingling in your gut, warning you that you were stepping into the unknown. You should be feeling that same thing right now. Look down at that ring. You know what it's telling all of you? It's 231 and a butt days. That's what it's telling you. But have you been robbed of your first year? No. You're here. You're learning and you're leading by example amongst our Army future officers. You're here with friends by your side. You're not in the basement of your parents. You are here with the kind of friends that one day may run through hellfire to be by your side when you need them most. And lastly, you're here with 231 days of opportunity to study, to prepare, and to build relationships that will take our Army and our country into the future with strength, with virtue, and with meaning. Take that opportunity, embrace the unknown, the chaotic, and the unexpected, and thrive in it. Enjoy those extra drinks tonight, and on May 22nd, bring every ounce of intellect, innovative spirit, character, and care that you can muster into our great Army. We need it. Thanks for raising your hand when it mattered. Thank you for welcoming me back to this great home today. Godspeed, thanks for everything, and good luck. Go Army.
Okay, all right, thanks.
General Clark, on behalf of the class of 2021, I'd like to offer you this West Point sculpted emblem as a token of our appreciation for your words of wisdom and 2 Budweisers tonight.
Thanks. Okay, all right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and share your glasses are charged for the final toast.
Ladies and gentlemen, I propose a toast to the class of 2021.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude this evening's festivities, there are several people and organizations the class would like to thank for making this evening possible. We ask that you please hold your applause until the end. Firstly, to the ring donors, their families, and the West Point Association of Graduates, we extend our sincere appreciation and gratitude. Thank you to our class advisor, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Hartsock, and our class officer in charge, Captain James Beebe, for their hard work and dedication to the class of 2021. Thank you to the Director of Cadet Activities and the Cadet Hostess Office for putting countless hours to ensure that this weekend would run smoothly. Finally, a big thank you to the many other organizations that have made this evening a success. Particularly, we would like to recognize the mess hall staff for their hard work in preparing and serving tonight's excellent meal. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ring weekend banquet. As an added reminder, no alcohol is permitted to leave the mess hall. Please enjoy the rest of the evening.